What's going on, guys? Happy New Year. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sean and this is Bill and Sean's Garage. So before we get into this video, let me kind of just give you a little rundown as to what's going on with my 90 right now. So a couple of months ago, maybe 6 months ago, give or take, I had installed my twin disc clutch. A couple of months before that, the car was sitting down for a little bit because I needed to get the clutch done. So eventually I'm on an E40 mix, so I decided to just pump my tank out just so it wasn't sitting in there. I eventually added 93 back in there just to run the car a little bit, and then finally did my twin disc clutch. After getting my clutch broken in and getting ready to turn up the boost, I realized that my port injection wasn't flowing 100%. Later on, I'll kind of throw up my JB4 to kind of show you guys what that looks like, but still trying to figure out what the issue is. I'm thinking my injectors are just clogged. Alright, so I'm going to try to explain to you guys real quick the whole port injection setup, especially with N54s and having direct injection. Alright, so I'm going to start off by showing you guys how the fuel comes into this port injection. So it'll come from the tank, and then what ends up happening is it'll feed the rail, or feed the port injectors, and then it actually tees off and goes over into the high pressure fuel pump. So this is actually wrong here. So it comes off and tees into the high pressure fuel pump, and then from there the high pressure fuel pump ends up feeding my primary injectors. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start pulling off my manifold so I can get to my port injection and dive into that. But on my car, how I have my blow-off valve set up is I'm running a hard back line all the way into my throttle body, and I'm using this adapter that I got from BMS to do that. Alright, so while I had the intake manifold off, I checked over the throttle body and the intake manifold to make sure that there was no issues, and everything checked out pretty good. So what I'm using to control my port injection is the JB4 port injection controller. Now, reading off of Burger Motorsports website here, it uses the low fuel pressure in conjunction with boost pressure to evaluate injection pressure and adjust the PI, IPW dynamically as required to maintain consistent flow volume. So it's gonna monitor the AFRs, your throttle position. It'll monitor and detect if there's a blown fuse, a loose ground. It'll read E85 mixture to determine its flow rate. So what it'll do is kind of fail safe or protect your car if it runs into an event that there's a misfire, a clogged injector, a loose ground, a blown fuse, etc., etc. So with this controller, it fail safes in the event of a mismatch of more than 15%, indicating a potential boost, leak, or injector flow issue. So it will save your vehicle from having any further issues. I haven't noticed any misfires since driving the car, but because it was down for quite some time, I did pump out the tank because I had an E40 mix inside there, and I ended up putting 93 back in there just to kind of start the car up from time to time and let it run. So there is a potential possibility that my E40 mix is off and it could be lower, but because I don't have a flex fuel sensor, I can't get an accurate reading on that, kind of just going off of the virtual JB4 content reader. What I'm hoping for is that the injectors are just dirty, and after I get them cleaned, flow tested, back in the car, I'll be able to see what's going on, and I'll be able to show you guys what I'm talking about. Once I get it back up and running, I'll do a test hit, and what I'm looking for is to see if the water meth injection, because that's how I'm reading my port injection, is flowing 100%. Now if it's not flowing 100%, then that means that there is something else going on that's causing it not to flow 100%. After I had did my twin disc and got everything installed back, I checked over everything, made sure everything was good. I didn't see any issues. But again, the car was sitting for a few months and it did have E40 mixed inside the tank. Now I did pump that out before I had started up the car, and I just dumped 93 back into it. But I don't know. We'll see what happens and go from there. Alright, so during this little pull I did, if you look down in the bottom right corner where it says WMI flow, that's what I'm using to measure my flow rate. So it should be reading 100 instead of like 27 to 30. Alright guys, I just pulled up to the shop. So let me get this stuff out. was that the injectors tested out good. There was no issues found with them. They ended up being really good in the flow test. Alright guys, I'm gonna have to wrap up the video here. But go ahead, like, comment, subscribe.
Okay, this right here, this so fire.